If you're looking for a computer that just works day after day without you having to become a tech wizard, that's the vibe I'm going for. I've spent the last week swapping my old tower for a few Al-Anon options, and the HP 2025 24-inch landed on my desk as the final contender. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes the decision hard isn't the glossy spec sheet. Everyone can list a Ryzen 7 and a 1TB SSD. The real question is whether those numbers translate into a smooth, hassle-free experience for the kind of work and entertainment you actually do at home or in a small office. I've heard a lot of people worry they'll end up with a flashy screen that freezes when they open a spreadsheet, or a speaker system that sounds like a tin can. Those are legit concerns, and they are the ones that drove my research before I even powered the machine on. First off, the design feels like a middle ground between a sleek TV and a traditional desktop. The 24-inch Full HD panel sits in a thin bezel, which means you can mount it on a wall or push it to the edge of a desk without it looking like a bulky box. That matters if you're working in a tight home office where every inch counts. When I placed it on my secondary monitor stand, the whole setup took up less space than my old 27-inch desktop tower and a separate monitor combined. The integrated dual speakers are surprisingly decent for video calls and casual music. You won't need a separate soundbar for a Zoom meeting, and the sound is clear enough that you can hear the nuances of a YouTube tutorial without turning up the volume to ear-shattering levels. Performance-wise, the AMD Ryzen 7 7730U paired with 16GB of DDR4 RAM feels snappy for everyday tasks. I opened a dozen Chrome tabs, switched between Word, Excel, and a Photoshop file, and never felt that dreaded lag you get on a low-end laptop. The 1TB PCIe SSD boots Windows 11 in under 10 seconds, and loading large presentations or video files is practically instantaneous. If you're a freelancer who drafts contracts, edits photos, or runs a small e-commerce site, the machine handles those workloads without you needing to think about closing apps to free memory. That's a practical win because it saves you time that would otherwise be spent troubleshooting. Now, let's talk connectivity. Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.3 are built-in, which means you can stream from your phone to the speakers, or connect a wireless mouse without a dongle cluttering the back. I paired a Bluetooth headset for a remote interview, and the connection stayed stable even when I walked around the house. The HDMI input is handy if you want to use the Al-Anon as a secondary display for a laptop or gaming console. I tried plugging a PlayStation 5 into the HDMI port, and the picture stayed crisp at 1080p. No scaling issues, no input lag that would ruin a fast-paced game. For a home office that sometimes doubles as a family media hub, that flexibility is a real plus. What the HP 2025 does well, however, are the hidden trade-offs that many spec sheets don't call out. The machine is Al-Anon, so the components are tucked behind the display. That makes upgrades harder than swapping a stick of RAM in a tower. If you think you'll need more than 16GB of memory or a larger SSD in a few years, you'll have to open the back panel and replace the modules yourself, which isn't as straightforward as a desktop's open chassis. For most users, 16GB is plenty, but power users who routinely run virtual machines or heavy 3D rendering might feel constrained down the line. Thermal performance is another practical point. The compact chassis relies on a single fan that draws air through the back. Under sustained heavy load, say, rendering a video while the Wi-Fi is streaming a large file, I noticed the fan kicked in a bit louder than I'd expect from a quiet office device. It's not a screaming noise, but it's audible enough that if you're recording podcasts or need a completely silent room, you might want to keep it a few feet away from the microphone. In a typical workday scenario, though, the fan stays at a low hum and never becomes a distraction. Who should buy this? If you're a remote worker, a small business owner, or a student who wants a clean desk with everything built in, the HP 2025 checks the boxes. It offers enough horsepower for productivity suites, light photo editing, and video playback, plus the convenience of integrated speakers and Wi-Fi 6. The wall-mountable form factor is a blessing for cramped apartments, and the Windows 11 pre-install means you're ready to go out of the box. It also makes sense for families that want a shared device for homework, streaming, and occasional gaming without juggling multiple machines. Who should skip it? If you're a hardcore gamer who demands high refresh rates, or a professional video editor who needs 4K color-accurate panels and the ability to upgrade graphics cards, this Al-Anon won't meet those.